song for a movie podcast. Some are pretty good, but we'll just suck ass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Watch with us, we're Cinema Buns. Let's go!
Hi. So
It's me, Miles Morales,
Wait.
and we're about to enter the Spiderverse.
We're doing the wrong one. No.
Yo.
Well, I guess we're recording two today.
So whatever. Yeah, we had an episode come out last week. This is our first live recording since I went to Japan for like most of May. Sorry.
Yeah, and our editor Jamie quit, so
He went to some show called Joe Rogan Experience. I don't know, but yeah, we're talking about Across the Spiderverse.
Wait, is that the first one we're doing?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Fuck you.
You guys are keeping me on my toes, I guess. My brain was switched to a different one.
Yeah, that's the point, bitch. But
What a twist.
Spiderverse, Cross the Spiderverse Part 1 is the first part of the sequel to
Into the Spiderverse.
Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who have basically lived the movie life and just watched trailers as they come out every week, you would know that the first teaser for Across the Spider-Verse was named Across the Spider-Verse Part 1.
Yeah.
And then in viewing in this movie, you realize why. Because this is a really big story and it needed to be split into two. And so they just changed, they kept it Across the Spider-Verse, but dropped the Part 1. And kind of a spoiler, the ending of this movie
Is a cliffhanger.
reveals the title for Part 2, which is going to be the third movie.
Yes. It is funny that they completely dropped Part 1 from the marketing on every trailer since that.
Yeah.
Part 1 just because Mike, my wife,
surprised.
and I saw it, and when you guys saw that, they were like, "Why is it such a cliffhanger?" I'm like, "Guys, it's Part 1." It's part what?
Yeah. So
We're Deathly Hollows Part 1 and 2 again, boys.
Woo!
We're catching fire. Part 1 and 2.
What?
Yes.
We're
All we need is for the
Twilight New Moon Part 1 and 2.
All we need is for
Or
the
is it Eclipse
author.
Part 1 and 2?
I have no idea.
You guys watched Twilight.
You guys are the movie guys.
Yes, but you're the
It is New Moon.
New Moon is
Yeah.
Part 1, Part 2.
All we need is for the author to become weirdly transphobic.
Anyways, so those who were living under a rock like I was didn't know it was going to be a Part 1. So I was genuinely surprised when it did pop up, and I was like, "Whoa!"
When it ended, and Mike and my wife were both like, "Wait, what? Keep going!"
Yeah, when you're sitting in the last 10 minutes, you're like, "Where are they going to go with this in 10 minutes?"
It's been 2 hours already, and it's like there's so much to do.
The music keeps telling me it's ending soon.
Yeah.
So let's start off with step 1 that almost everyone's going to start off with. Good Lord, is the movie gorgeous looking.
So
Holy
back,
fuck.
yeah.
It do
So
be looking good.
Into the Spider-Verse in 2018 changed the formula and the standard for animated movies forever by being like kind of the first animated movie in like years to win the Oscar and steal it away from Disney.
And
Yeah.
cause like 6 movies to go, what if we animated at 12 frames a second?
What if we animated and made it look like that too?
Yeah.
So Q and Kid Cudi. Yeah, so since then there have been a bunch of copycats, and here in 2023, Phil Lord and Chris Miller come back to take back
The
their
best copycat.
throne. Come back for their crown to come back on top. And
Honestly, I think they've improved their game.
so
for sure.
100%.
So I have like this feeling. So like they do something interesting with this in that it's a very mixed media type of like kind of look.
Yeah.
Every dimension, every multiverse has their own art style. Like Gwen Stacy specifically has like kind of that concept art painterly look.
Like watercolor almost.
Yeah, and like the thing is that like it depends on it kind of follows the mental state of the character that the camera is like pointing to. So the camera is basically just in the point of view of Gwen Stacy, and each time the background just loses less and less detail. It becomes more painterly as she just focuses on her dad or whoever she's talking to, and I think like they utilize some sort of like AI thing, because like the way it's like kind of like animated, because like you know how you can put in like a JPEG or like Van Gogh's Starry Night or something, and then have it animate over something, and so it'll just take the painting and just stretch and warp it.
Oh, I got you.
That's what I kind of feel like. I feel like they did some of that.
I would be highly surprised if they did, because I feel like a lot of the movements were too, like, deliberate.
Well, I feel like they can easily just animate something without textures and then do a simple concept art, like one still, and then have the AI animate according to like the texture.
So the reason I think that's not what hobie is because there's actually been a lot of behind the scenes stuff that is released since the movie has come out, and like Hobie, also known as Spider-Punk, he took 2 years by himself to animate for this entire movie.
That makes sense.
Which would have been before like the AI boom.
Yeah, because he's got the entire like pop punk, almost like magazine cutout.
Yeah, he's
glue
got the
aesthetic.
collage look.
Yeah, and it works amazing.
So there are points in the movie where you can kind of just like lose your eyes, just start to lose focus.
Because you're trying to look at everything.
Well, it's also because because like there are moments where you're looking at Spider-Punk and it's like trying to look at an Eldritch being, because I'm like, I can't comprehend what I'm looking at and I don't know what it looks like. But for like 90% of the time, he looks like a figure, a person.
So yeah, I will say that in contrast from the first movie, they've done a much better job of visually showing different styles for every like spider person, because in the first one they had like they had different like looks. Like obviously Penny was more anime-esque, and then Ham was more of like the classic cartoon, but in general they still looked like
Cartoons.
the same animation style, just different colors and like character like portraits.
And I think that's kind of like the point, because you don't want like too many drastically different art styles just hanging around.
See, you say that, but then in this movie they said "fuck you."
Well, they had money this time around.
They had money for the first one, my guy.
I mean, they had money for the first one, but I mean, comparing the two, and then
yeah. But this one, it's very interesting because you can see just how ambitious they've decided to be.
Yeah.
Since like, I will say this movie isn't all just like, ooh, Easter egg, ooh, Easter egg. It doesn't focus on that, which is good. But as someone who's sitting there and seeing all of it, I'm like, they actually acknowledge Spectacular Spider-Man?
Yeah.
People actually care? Because I like the show.
Yeah,
but I remember when it was
the best like Spider-Man show to come out since like the original Fox one.
You say that, but while it was airing, I fucking could not find a single person who watched it.
That's because they're like 10 years old and they're not online.
that's true.
I think I was that age when it was on. But because I feel like Spectacular Spider-Man fell into the same hole that the Batman did. Do you guys remember that one?
Yeah, I like the Batman. It was one of my favorite Joker incarnations.
That was a fun one.
I
liked that one a
loved
lot.
that version of the Joker.
I also love Tom Kenny as Penguin.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I
I loved all of them as they
I
all of the interpretations of all those characters.
Yeah.
And then once they started incorporating like Superman and the rest of the Justice League, that's when I just got older and like I couldn't watch cartoons that early anymore or something.
Yeah. But no, they had Spectacular Spider-Man. They obviously brought in like scenes from the live action movies.
I didn't see any Tom Holland in there. I just saw Garfield and Tobey Maguire.
No, because
I don't think they have access to him.
that's
right?
because Sony didn't make the Tom Holland ones.
Yeah.
They loaned the Spider-Man IP out to Marvel for the Tom Holland ones.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's still under the Sony brand.
I think technically, but I think when it comes to like showing off in movies and stuff, I think the Tom Holland Spider-Man is in this weird limbo. It's like the Kingdom Hearts of Spider-Man. So it's trapped between Square Enix and Disney. This one is trapped between Sony. Disney's still there. But no, Andrew Garfield. Why can't I remember his name? Tobey Maguire. They also had a fucking Venom.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy Venom reference in there, which was great.
I think I missed that one.
That was when Spot went into the convenience store and was talking to that one
To a
Asian
human lady.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She's like, "What? This is just a normal Tuesday for you?
Okay.
And
I'm
she's-
coming out of a multiversal portal."
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And she's
now,
like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the convenience
Okay,
store owner
got it.
from Venom.
Okay.
Also, Sony doing some aggressive marketing for the next PlayStation Spider-Man game.
It's not out yet, right?
It's not out yet.
Yeah, okay.
Miles' roommate.
Ned's playing
Yes.
Marvel Spider-Man.
Yeah, and then
Marvel Spider-Man is in
showed
there.
up
This
in
Yuri
there.
Lowenthal Spider-Man.
Dude,
is in
when
there.
I saw it show up, Mike and I
Yeah,
looked at
right.
each other and we're like, what the fuck?
Then there was also like PlayStation 2 Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
Okay,
they brought in everyone.
I was really
Everyone is here.
Yeah.
So there's one part where PS4 Spider-Man is chasing Miles, and I'm really disappointed that there wasn't a QTE prompt that popped up above him when like he was. I kind of wish that they had a moment like that just to acknowledge it, but you know,
No, it only shows up for him, so we can't see it.
exactly. I think it is surprising how well they built out the different Spider People characters.
Yeah.
Like, you would think with how ambitious this movie was that there would be some characters they would introduce and just kind of drop off. But I feel like, except for the Techno Spider Girl, I feel like almost all of them...
The VR chat Spider
Yeah.
Girl.
That was
I
funny.
feel like almost all of them had great personifications, character
They had their small
growth
arcs and
stuff,
whatever.
and it felt every moment you had with them felt earned.
Yeah.
And you grew to like know these characters and actually care about what happened.
Yeah, so like a less good movie would introduce 5,000 characters and you would not remember a single one of their faces or names. But you show off. I mean, like there's once it kind of gets going, and you get to see the other Spider People. There's a good chunk of them that you remember, and a good chunk of them that you just like follow their small arcs. Like these are like written characters,
Yeah.
but there are also just like thousands of other Spider-Men and Spider-Girls like in the background,
Yeah.
and they're there for a gag and they do their part,
Or just
like,
to fill space or something like
yeah.
that.
And everyone is like used like properly.
Yeah. I do like the therapist scene where it's like, and then I went to Uncle Ben, and let me guess, he died.
Yeah.
That. Okay, Kevin, I gotta ask you. You are in contact with friend of the show, Angel. How did he feel about the interpretation of Scarlet Spider?
I didn't talk to him yet, actually.
Oh,
about it.
damn it! I wanted to know how he felt about it because, like,
Ben Reilly being a brooding
Yeah.
like wannabe
it
Batman.
was so good.
Even though Miguel is already trying to be that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking of my backstory. It's like, oh, Jesus. Or when he's choking someone, it's like, you can't escape my well-defined
Well-defined.
muscles. It's just like, oh, fuck. I need to know what Angel thinks about this.
Also, how the different, I guess, animation styles interact with each other, I think worked out really well.
By the way, I fucking love Da Vinci Vulture.
Yeah, he has hammer space.
No, I love that too.
Yeah, no,
I love
that
the
was
comic
great.
of like, oh, he's got hammer space, and then the quick little like box
The
popping
comic
up.
book,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because like the first movie leaned in on it a lot because it was very comic book referential.
Yeah.
They reference a lot of like just the look of comic books, and because like whenever it would do like an impact frame, it would turn into like a comic book page. They kind of just removed that. That wasn't a thing in this movie, except for like just those bits.
Yeah.
Where they show bits and pieces of like their origin dimension when they're fighting
I would
different characters.
disagree. I feel like it still had that comic book like pow effect when he was fighting Spot.
Yeah, there's still be moments here and there.
Yeah. Oh, can we talk about the like great character arc for a F tier villain? Like
There's a didn't the James Gunn Suicide Squad also have this
yeah.
kind of thing where they turned the polka dot man into an actual character?
Yeah. Like, for those that don't know, the Spot in the comics is like a nobody.
Is a villain of the week.
Yeah, he is a little villain of the week.
He is literally just a show up so they have something to do for a couple pages and then leave. But here, they, like, do a really good job at making him, like, terrifying.
But
'Cause
in a comedic way, because he realizes what he is. And
yeah, but also in an organic way, because he starts super bumbling.
Yeah.
But then, like, he gets pissed off enough to where he's like, fuck you. I'm not the villain of the week. And then you just see him escalate. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ.
This movie is like is just another nail in the multiverse of madness coffin. Fucking so disappointed in that Doctor Strange movie.
Didn't see it.
There's only so much Sam Raimi love I can give it. But after that, it's like, yeah, they did not use it well enough.
Because like this is one of those movies that really takes advantage in the aspect of the multiverse, and it really like takes care of like kind of just the scope, just as much as like Everything Everywhere did.
Yeah.
Because in the grand scope of a multiverse, you kind of like they always introduce the decisions and consequences of like repeating events and like which one is the right path and how are you it's like a little bit like a time travel conundrum. It's a little bit of like a moral conundrum, and like those are like they should all be like the centerpieces of every like just kind of like multi-dimensional multiverse movie.
Mm-hmm.
I do like how this one doesn't go anywhere near the time travel aspect of it though. I like how it's purely just like multiple like versions of a timeline.
Yeah.
The way I understand it is that they're all moving
At the same
at
time.
the same time.
Yeah.
And the way they traverse multiverses, like the dimensions, they're only going parallel to the time. It's not like they go backwards in time and then jump to a different
That's
dimension.
what I liked a lot.
Yeah, I think that helped them a lot with the whole aspect of how this
and I think it also helps the viewer like keeping track of what's happening in their head too, because like
keeping one timeline is easy to follow, because then you're just like, okay, they're just jumping to another thing.
Yeah, they're just moving parallel. Exactly like you said.
It's easy to follow. Nothing's like it doesn't get too confusing or convoluted. And it doesn't, and they don't write themselves into a wall of time travel.
This is a movie I think I could safely recommend to my parents, and not be worried about them going, I don't get it, and then turning off the movie. I also like how it kind of brought up a plot aspect that, for some reason, I never thought of until it brought it up. Of like, because 2099 Spider-Man, also known as Miguel, is telling Miles like, you can't be part of this. And should we save that for spoilers?
Say that for spoilers.
Yeah, we'll save that for spoilers. But I'll just say that there are certain plot aspects from the first movie that they bring up that I'm like, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. So we talked about visually, it's gorgeous. All the art styles and stuff. Character-wise, it's great.
Gwen got some love in this movie.
Gwen got a lot of love.
Yeah, so the movie starts with her, and then it starts becoming more of her story. And she's like the first one introduced in this movie.
She also has some really good quips.
Yes.
She has some really good quips.
I do love the general joke of... Because there's something that happens, and they come back to like the spider base, and just every Spider-Man is quipping at them about what they did. They're like, okay, just get it out of your system and fuck off. No, what was I going to say? Everything was gorgeous.
Characters. We got onto Gwen.
Okay. My wife brought this up, and I tend to agree with her. I don't think the music was as good as it was in the first one.
I was literally talking to Kevin about that, and I think I mentioned it to you guys a little bit. Not that the music's bad in this one. It's just I liked the music more in the first one.
I would agree.
I think
just they had more iconic songs, I would say, for me at least, in the first one that I could jam out to. Whereas this one was a lot more lo-fi.
This one I think focused more on soundtrack as
Yeah.
opposed to songs.
Also, just a side note that Kevin mentioned to me as well is you thought it was kind of quiet, right? The voices,
Okay,
the voice acting.
So apparently there was a news report that came out.
Yeah.
Apparently it's an actual like movie mixing issue.
Yes.
And it's not
Is
the.
it news?
So here, okay, when we saw the movie,
Yeah, they didn't play it to you guys properly.
okay, is that what happened?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we're playing it properly.
Yeah, because our theater, I guess an email came out, and they mentioned that, hey, you need to turn certain things up because we mixed it. With our mixing and stuff, it'll sound it won't sound correct.
Damn it. Okay.
Yeah.
There was a news report that came out that a bunch of people who saw the movie are like, it was really hard to hear the voices of
Yes.
the characters, and okay,
That's
that makes more sense.
Yeah. Because I also thought it was quiet, and that was like my one concern.
Well,
was
I could
like,
hear the dialogue
Yeah.
very clearly, but for some reason, some of the music aspects were like way quieter than they should be.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, it's a very like kind of dynamic sound mix.
Yeah.
do we think it was probably built more for like Atmos or something?
No, not really.
I think it just-
it's built for like Dolby surround sound. But yeah, Lord and Miller wrote a letter to exhibitors to play it at a certain volume and just raise it up.
Yeah.
So if exhibitors are playing it just right out of the package with just default sound settings, it's gonna sound too quiet.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because that's what the issue was for me, at least, kind of at the beginning, especially.
Yeah.
I
It
just
was-
felt like the music was overpowering the voices.
So if it wasn't for the fact that there were people next to us that I would have to walk past again, I would have gotten up and gone to a manager and been like, okay, what's going on with the audio?
Yeah.
Because it was bugging the shit out of me.
Yeah, it was bothering me too, and it was like the first thing I noticed as soon as someone opened their mouth.
Meanwhile, my wife is like, oh, I didn't notice anything. And I'm like, you're not helpful.
It was literally like the first thing I noticed the moment someone talked. I was like, wow, that's not.
That's why I love my wife, but sometimes when I see movies with her, it bugs me because I'm like, oh man, that's super annoying. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So just if I feel like I'm getting gaslit.
No, I was I was there with you, man. I was just not saying anything because I was just trying to listen.
Just get through it.
Yeah.
But I love hearing the music sound background in this movie because it kind of like it maintains kind of like Miles's like he has like a theme song that plays, and so there's like those little leitmotifs that play throughout the entire thing, and at the same time everyone has their own little motif and like kind of like their own soundtrack like character theme, and it's like just mixed whenever they're doing their own thing, and then every dimension has their own like kind of just like musical thing.
I will agree with you. I think the background music for each character's theme I think was done better in this one. But I didn't get my bombastic song that I can I just wanted that one song to be like, yeah, this is the song I need to get me going for whatever's about to happen next.
Yeah.
And that's what that was the only thing that was really lacking as far as like the music aspect.
Did Ludwig Göransson do the music for this one again?
Also, I just generally love the designs of everyone.
Oh yeah.
Everyone just
I think everyone had a great design.
yeah.
Everyone had a subtle difference depending on which
everyone-
multiverse they were in.
everyone
And that was
had
awesome.
a very clearly defined
Yeah.
silhouette, which is
It was-
usually how you can determine if a character design is good.
right.
Honestly, I'm trying to think of what else we could cover in the non-spoiler section because
Do you guys have any cons?
well, the audio wasn't that good. No. I would say besides the audio,
Oh, Daniel Pemberton did the music for this one.
Let's see.
Okay.
what else has he worked on? That name sounds familiar.
Bad Guys?
Okay. That tracks.
Like,
Enola
I'm gonna
Holmes
have
2?
to I guess get really nitpicky. I guess. So
Well, I mean, yeah, we're
because I will say for me at least, this was this could be a 10 out of 10, but I can't say that just because there's going to be a part 2 and I need to see it out to the end. So I want to give it a tentative 9 out of 10 in my personal personally, just because of that aspect.
I will say that this movie suffers from Lord of the Rings syndrome, where it had 6 endings back to back
Where it could have ended.
where you're like, okay, this is where we're gonna. Oh, it's still going. Okay, cool. It's
Really?
gonna end. Oh, okay. Guess we're still going. Okay.
I don't know,
because
'cause, like-
I wasn't looking for that, so I didn't get that feeling because
Well,
I didn't know there was like
I had that feeling because the music would swell up, swell up, swell up, like it's gonna cut to credits, and then it would cut to another scene, swell up, swell up, swell up, cut to another scene. It's like, okay, how many endings are we gonna get?
Maybe that went over my head because I didn't feel that. I felt like, oh man, they're going on the next thing. Here we go. Because I was excited for the next thing and the next thing. I didn't think about, oh, this is going to be the end. Oh, this is going to be the end.
Yeah, the way I felt like kind of like the third act, like things were always happening, and
Yeah.
they didn't have like a sense of finality up until like it actually ended. Because,
Yeah.
so I didn't have that like kind of just like Lord of the Rings like ending cock blocks,
Yeah. Unfortunately.
ending blue balling.
Yeah.
That Lord of the Rings had.
The only blue ball I had was at the very, very end when it did actually end.
Yeah.
But it's so the way it ends is kind of like it's kind of just hype, and it's like getting everything together to finally
Not a bad thing. Just like, man.
this is like second to last episode of the season type feelings.
Oh yeah.
Or it's like we're gonna go into the final battle.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. My cons is that it just, because it's a part 1 of 2, it doesn't finish any of, well, it finishes like some story threads, but it doesn't like satisfy a lot of like the arcs and stories that are established in this movie.
Right.
And as far as so I can't like narratively speaking, that's the weakest part of this movie.
Are you kind of on the same boat of Mike of like it's kind of hard to judge it properly without the part 2?
Yeah.
I would say that except Infinity War and Endgame perfected it, because those were 2 separate movies but they were 2 parts of the same movie.
That's fair.
So
Okay.
Infinity War, some people are like Infinity War is better than Endgame, and some people are like Endgame's better than Infinity War.
But that's a good thing.
But that's because like they're both separate good movies that can like stand on their own. But they're also part 1 and part 2 of like
Right.
the bigger movie.
Like I said, that's probably like my con.
And I mean, like it's a big shoe to fill, and it's a kind of like a big standard to be at. But
yeah, I kind of
this is not, this doesn't have the same feeling of finality.
So where would you put between like Avengers and this movie? Where would you place Dune on that like spectrum? I feel like the story wasn't complete, but I feel like Dune Part 1 and Part 2 are going to be able to stand on their own.
Yeah, so I don't remember if I said this during Dune. Was that it was like it felt like the first movie of a thing, and it felt like a kind of just like a complete closed off movie.
Enough
because,
was tied up at the end
Yeah.
to where new plots could be opened up for the next one.
yeah, it felt like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Star Wars ends with them looking out at I think the galaxy, and just
Yeah.
after getting their asses beat, and just like, we will rebuild, we'll fight back against the Empire. And that's what Dune Part 1 was.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it didn't end. It sort of like ended on a cliffhanger, but it was like, there's still I need to rescue my family.
I was about to say the cliffhanger is, what are they going to do now?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But at the ending of Across the Spiderverse, you're left with the characters in a situation that they need to like solve.
Like now.
Like now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's still things like going on at that moment at which point where it ended.
Yep.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Trying to think, anything else you guys want to bring up before we get into spoiler talks? I think I'm good. I think I'm ready to go spoiler.
Did you guys get distracted for every like
Okay.
scenes you've seen in memes whenever they would show up in the movie? Would you get distracted and be like, oh,
No,
because it's like there's the grounded bedroom scene where she like grabs his sketchbook and is like,
Oh,
this is
yeah.
trying to-" and then she's like, hey, you want to get out? And then she's like rolls out of the window, and then I just do the sniff noise to myself. He runs up to the window, and I just go And I'm like,
What?
I'm ruined. This movie is ruined.
I see more of the memes of she opens the sketchbook and it's just her with a fat ass.
Yeah, exactly. And
Um,
I'm like, oh no, I'm sorry.
I did get distracted because I fucking loved Moonbatten Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He was so funny.
He was great. Watching him like web sling across the city was so
Like,
fun
just-
and interesting.
It looked
to
like
watch.
yo-yos, just throwing
Yeah,
yo-yos.
it was great.
Those are his braces.
Yeah, I know.
And I actually found out in this behind the scenes thing that the animators based his web slinging movements on a like 1,000-year-old Indian martial art
Oh,
that
very-
originates from a very specific part of India.
Wow.
It was very trapeze-like because it seems like
Yeah, because the
like
way he was
he
hanging
moves like
on
a
to things-
trapeze artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he would build like constructs with his webs in order to swing through them. Although he can ordinarily do ordinary web swinging too.
Yeah.
But it's not
But
as
he
cool.
has like extra style and
Yeah, he has to style it.
yeah.
I did like the part like I love chai tea. Chai tea? You're just saying TT. Should I get some cream for my coffee?
And it's funny because Spot makes the same joke about ATM machines.
Yeah.
It's an automatic teller machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, no, that's funny. That was just one of my more favorite scenes, just because. So like the entire first movie is Miles coming into his own. He loses a mentor, picks up a new mentor, who at the same time is not as good as a Spider-Man that
He's
he was.
learning how to teach.
He's
Yeah.
learning how to teach, and in so gaining confidence in himself.
But also has a megaton of experience.
Yeah, so he like eventually teaches thing, and then there's like all this imagery of like him web swinging and like wall crawling poorly in the beginning, and then getting better. And
Yeah.
I was afraid that like there would be we would retread arcs again, and a lot of like sequels fall into this pit trap where their main character just does the same thing, or they have the same problems that we solved already in the first movie. No, he's a competent Spider-Man.
Yep.
The city doesn't hate him, and he does his job.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like he's good at beating up bad guys and like arresting.
Well,
You guys,
except
let's get into the spoilers. then.
Except for the baby powder incident.
Oh,
Okay,
I'd
we're
like
getting
to
into
apologize.
spoilers now, everybody. 3, 2.
Shit, wait, I'm not done yet.
No, we're getting into spoilers, and then you can.
He's
start
not
talking.
done yet.
I'm not.
Okay,
it's
so-
not a spoiler.
Oh, it's not a spoiler. Okay, never mind.
Trying to pull my pants out of my pants. And so like he's he's like a verified Spider-Man at
Yes.
this point. And so when he is working with the other Spider-Men,
He's not lagging behind.
he's
No,
not
He's
They're just doing their thing.
he's in the rhythm. Their sixth sense, spider sense, is communicating with each other, and they know exactly what to do. They're like a fucking like elite strike team.
Yeah.
And like
It was like
the Mombatan
instant.
like dimension was like one of my favorite scenes in that
was
movie
so cool.
because they were
it's
so
built for Spider-Man.
and they were so fucking good.
Yeah. I'm sorry, a multi-tier city.
Yeah.
They're like, come on.
And here's the traffic, and here's the traffic,
Yeah,
and
and
here's the
more
traffic.
traffic. And here, more traffic. Fuck. Yeah, okay.
Actually, it's not built for spider people because there's too many people to rescue.
Okay. I'm ready to go into spoilers. 3, 2, 1. Man,
To me, spoilers.
could Miguel have brought up the cannon to Miles in the most dumb-ass fucking way possible? I'm
so.
Okay. Let's break the... This is one of my cons, but I didn't want to bring it up in the non-spoiler section.
Okay.
So, there's the canon,
Right.
where they're scripted events that have to happen within the universe in order to make that Spider-Man a Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
to kind of, like, cement and atomize their character.
Right.
But, like, in bringing this up to Miles, they tell him, yes, your dad is going to die and we're going to let him die. Well, when's it going to happen? In exactly 2 days. Motherfucker. You could have just said, you could have lied and been like,
I don't know.
yeah, like there could have been like an extra aspect of like betrayal or mystery to it of like, listen, someone in your life is going to die. You could even be like, we know you saw your dad dying. We know it's going to happen. We just don't know when. but there's no way to avoid it.
Mhm.
And you could have gone that route and then have it find out later, like, oh no, we know exactly when and
Well, that's not a very Spider-Man thing to do, though. They're still Spider-Man. They're not going to lie to each other.
Okay, I'm sorry. You think the more Spider-Man thing to do is to lock him in a bubble and go, you have to watch your dad die.
And then we're all the entire universe, multiverse of Spider-Man are going to guard you.
And make you watch your dad die. I don't think that's any more Spider-Man.
Well,
than
they're not
lying.
proud of it, but that's why they're not going to lie to him, though.
No.
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
think so.
I
think it was
much
fine the way it was done.
Nah, I was not a fan of that plot. I'm fine with like the canon plot point. I'm not fine with all these spider people being 100% on board of like clockwork oranging Miles to a chair and making him watch his dad die saving a kid. I'm sorry. I'm not okay with that.
I don't think, though, I think it's just like kind of like the small group of people in the Spiderverse know about this, or like know specifically Miles' story.
Yeah.
So I think they're all just following orders. Most of them are just following orders.
Okay, but still, except for Hobie.
Yeah, that's
I
because
did-
he was there.
No,
Yeah.
I did like Hobie just being like the entire
T, I'm so
time-
punk rock. Aren't you in a band? I don't believe in consistency.
No, I also like the whole time leading up to like Miles when he's like,
he's
I'm
just-
so excited to be. Hobie's like, you
Yeah.
shouldn't be. I mean, an institution is institution. They'll find some way to be power hungry. And it's like, no, I think this is. Why are you stealing things? It's like, he's got enough. And meanwhile, he's doing his thing, and like as soon as the shoe drops, Hobie's like, yeah, I quit. Bye.
Yep.
So I do like how they like weirdly for someone who hates consistency, Hobie is very consistent in the punk rock aesthetic.
Yeah.
I also really like the story reasoning behind why the Spider-Verse like Strike Force came into being. I think it does a really good job of painting Miguel's character, and like it kind of explains why he's such a broody asshole, why he's the Batman of Spider-Man.
Yes.
But I also just generally like that they did a lot of like they did a lot of credit for 2099 Spider-Man, and I'm very happy for that. He's like, I love that Spider-Man run, and like I'm glad they did him justice. I am waiting for the Fang aspect to come into more play in part 2. I'm waiting for something to happen with that.
Yeah, because like you only see him be vampire for just the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
The vampire shit, and then he like stops being.
Except
doing vampire shit.
I'm a little disappointed it didn't come up. I was almost waiting for a moment for him to like think about doing it to Miles. I wanted a moment when he had Miles down and you see him like about to do it, but didn't happen. Still, I kind of feel like it was really weird, the instantaneous connection between him and VR Girl.
I mean, no, because he has communication things.
No, like they can be chill, but like I just like the immediate like connection that I was just like, okay.
Well, I think it's that because they're all spider people and they all come from like kind of just the same background. They all kind of just sympathize with each other. So although a lot of them
until they want to Clockwork Orange someone.
Yeah, I mean like they all have their order to capture Miles. And then I think like really if once they get down to the final moments of actually getting him pinned down, I think they'll actually hesitate.
By the way, I did
because they have that hero aspect.
I did like Spider Cat.
Yeah.
That just
Oh, it's a
threw up-
cat that says Spider-Man?
I like the T-Rex.
No, remember it was the cat that smacked against his face, scratched him, and then when
Yeah.
he held it, it like
Shot
spat
out.
up a hairball of web at his face.
Oh, yeah.
Spider-Cat.
Yeah.
No, the spot. I think
I like
it's-
that he became an eldritch being.
Yes. When he fucking absorbed the particle at the end, and he's just like, he has no borders anymore.
Yeah.
Nothing is consistent on him. I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Yeah, I know.
And then I do like that they made him the guy that got hit by the bagel
Yeah.
in the first movie. That's such a random bullshit thing to like make him be, but it works so fucking well because I see all the memes online labeled the bagel incident, and it just shows Miles throwing the bagel, and as soon as it hits, it does that Eldritch, and it shows like Eldritch like spot. There was okay. So the plot point that they bring up that for some reason I didn't think about, like the consequences of or not. Like Miguel's like, Miles, you can't join. Your spider didn't come from your universe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And because you got bit, the existing Spider-Man died. And so that basically confirms the universe's rule of there can only be one Spider-Man at one time in one universe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that was
sort of sometimes.
Yeah.
Because like, there are other people that have spider powers, but like there's only kind of just like one and only like Spider-Man, I guess, is what they're establishing.
Yes. And it was interesting that they visited the world that spider came from.
Earth 42.
Yeah. I like that a lot because
That
it's
was
like
so good.
that's something you didn't. I didn't think about it
No.
when I watched the first movie, and then when it brought it up, I'm like, oh shit, that's right. No mutated spider, no Spider-Man. What the? I do think it's weird how just -1 hero in New York is a fucking wasteland. a fucking
Yeah, the
like,
Sinister Six gang takes over in Manhattan.
It's not like they have Iron Man or
Well,
the
you gotta also
Fantastic
remember
Four.
some of these
or...
universes don't have those heroes.
True. I mean,
That could be one of those.
I guess that's
yeah,
true.
Yeah.
They do make it canonical that some universes do and don't. Because,
have-
like, I think the argument is that Tom Hardy is the Spider-Man of his universe.
I was under the impression that they were going to try to establish their own.
That's what was in the talks, but I think after they teamed up with, like, Marvel... Because I know there was a moment where they were going to have Tom Holland and Tom Hardy fight.
Yeah.
In one of the movies, but then they just like scrapped the idea.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's happening
Morbius is
there.
now.
I don't know.
Morbius,
Morbius is going to
Morpheus.
fight Venom.
He's gonna morb out on Venom.
Mhm.
God, please
Have sex. Have sex.
make a scary vampire face at the mirror. Rawr.
That's what Miguel should have done. If he really wanted to catch Miles, he should have morbed out on him.
Also, Donald Glover just being
Oh my god,
just showing up as the Prowler in this.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of them.
So I was explaining this to Mike, and he doesn't fucking remember Homecoming.
No, I
don't.
remember this.
Yeah.
I was actually about to bring this up. So actually, Donald Glover was the first on-screen voice of Miles Morales.
Mhm.
The first time Miles Morales ever showed up on screen was in animated form, and he voiced him.
And also, he wanted to play Spider-Man, half jokingly, but like half seriously. Like
Yeah.
just as a celebrity, he was just like I want to be Spider-Man.
And then,
Eventually was Spider-Man.
in Homecoming, he's Uncle Aaron. He's Uncle Aaron.
Yeah. So that scene where he sells weapons,
Yeah.
to Vulture and like his crew, and so Tom Holland's Peter Parker finds him, and then he's like, "Why you sound like a little boy?" I sound like a man.
Yeah, because the little AI brought up his ID too, and it said Aaron Davis.
Yeah. One of the things he said is like, I understand. I have a nephew too.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, when is this web thing gonna go away? It's like, oh, it's gonna melt after an hour. I got ice cream in here. So that's like a Donald Glover. That's not. I don't think that's MCU Donald Glover like as a Prowler. I think that's
No, I think it is. That's my headcanon. It's
there's too much time to pass, or like it's. So that would be like current MCU Donald Glover,
Yeah.
and he's Prowler. And I feel like there's no reason for him to be doing shit like that in like that universe.
I disagree.
What if
And
that
here-
wasn't
no.
ice cream under there?
Here's my argument why I think it's true.
Mhm.
One, the alien invasion of New York. Fucking alien technology everywhere. Plenty of shit for him to do. That's what the Vulture was doing.
Mhm.
Two, fucking Infinity War, half the world just goes away. Fucking, you're telling me crime wouldn't all of a sudden pop off? You're telling me they wouldn't be a market for a bunch of drugs and shit? Because people are depressed because I just saw Nana fucking turn into confetti. So I think there was a market for Prowler to exist. So I think it is current MCU Prowler.
I think though, like he would show up in other New York superhero stories though,
But
because it's the same Daredevil, I guess. I don't know.
Well, we've clearly established that Marvel doesn't care about Daredevil anymore. They don't care about Jessica Jones anymore. They don't care about Luke Cage anymore, and they don't care about Iron Fist anymore.
This guy hasn't watched She-Hulk.
I'm sorry. I only try to watch good shows. She-Hulk is garbage.
I don't, because like there are a bunch of like superheroes that are based in New York, right?
There's a lot.
Yeah, but in the current MCU and like.
Oh wait, I did forget Daredevil did show up in the most recent Spider-Man.
Yeah, because he was the lawyer.
Yeah, I did forget that part.
Yeah, I think.
I also like he's the lawyer they could afford.
If Prowler's prowling around, I feel like he should have like shown up on someone's radar in any of these like New York-based superheroes.
I mean, for every New York-based superhero, there's like 7 New York-based villains. So like, who knows? I was a little bit disappointed that Spot never said, "It's all about the Mets, baby, the Mets, baseball, baby, hot dogs, popcorn, batter up."
Kingpin. That's Kingpin's thing. He's
Yeah.
dead.
Okay, then maybe Spot talks about the Red Sox. I don't know.
I mean, Spots was just talking about a bagel. That's good enough for right now, right? It's also funny that how a bagel has a hole. He also is full of holes.
You know what also is utilized by the bagel? Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, he brought it in.
And it talks about multiverses.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
In the bagel.
Do we think Michelle Yeoh is going to make an appearance?
That'd be funny.
That'd be great.
Are you guys watching American Born Chinese?
No, I don't know what that is.
Huh?
The Disney Plus show?
No.
No.
It basically they just recasted everyone from Everything Everywhere.
Oh, that's
Oh.
funny.
It's about a Chinese American high school kid that has like superpowers.
Oh.
It was advertised during the Oscars, remember?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Disney Plus barely exists on my radar. No, honestly, everything considered, I just like everyone out there is saying, I could not recommend this movie enough. It's
Like, I can't like I.
We
mentioned
got
this already,
ass in a
but-
PG movie.
who what ass did we get?
Someone said ass.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you meant at. I'm like I looked
Like just-
and Mary
I'm just-
Jane didn't show much.
But yeah.
Oh,
like,
you were
I
looking
already
at
said
Mary
this
Jane?
earlier, but like, Gwen
Not
had
the
a
mom?
lot of good lines, and
I was afraid where you were going when you said Gwen had a lot of right after we were talking about ass.
No, that mom.
I missed you too, I missed you too, buddy.
No, she just had some good quips.
Yeah.
And because I didn't really think of her too much, honestly, in the first one.
Because like she was her fights with Renaissance Vulture was
Like she really
she
had
was-
her
she
own
was-
character in this.
yeah, she classic Spider-Man quips.
Yeah.
Um,
Like when
Or when Miguel
Spider Woman
first
that came on with the motorcycle, and she's like, "Can you be my mommy?"
Yeah. Can you adopt me? What?
mommy?
What?
I mean, sorry, mommy.
Sorry.
I kind of like Miguel shows up. You're like, Blue Panther, Blue Crusader, Dark Garfield. And he's like, shut up. No, honestly, I recommend this. It's another movie that makes me sad that more people don't take animation seriously.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, it got brought up during the Oscars, but it's something I always try to tell people. It's like, guys, animation isn't always just for kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it could be like a more kid like targeted movie. That doesn't make it bad.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I feel I'm kind of sad that more people say, because I've got a family member who I've recommended like Spiderverse. Like, it is a legitimately good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you like the Marvel movies, you'll like the. And she's like, "Oh, I can't watch animation." I'm like, "Why?"
Yeah.
She's like, "It just messes with me." And I'm like,
Messes with it.
She
They
said-
think of the past.
She says, "I just can't it just doesn't work with my brain, and I'm like, no, you just think it's for kids. That's
Yeah, no, I have family members too. Like my siblings, they have no interest in watching any of the animated Spider-Man.
or just animated movies in general.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
But, like I try to tell my brother and sister, and they were just like not. They're like, maybe eventually. They don't know, and that just equates to them. They're not interested in seeing it.
Meanwhile, you're over there going, no, you don't understand.
Yeah.
They have ass.
They have good storylines,
but cake. No, I think honestly, I'm tapped out on what to say about Spider-Verse. 100%, you have to see it. It's this and the first Spider-Verse. I think are required viewing.
Did we even mention that the ending at all? We didn't even
Not
say
even
it.
the spoiler section.
Yeah, we didn't even say it in
no,
the
we
spoiler
haven't.
section. Yeah.
Well,
Shit,
so
I thought we did.
No, we didn't. That's why I was like waiting for one of you two.
Oh no, I thought we did because I was like, it has a Lord of the Rings problem.
We're talking
no.
about the canon events.
Yeah.
No, I like the twist at the end of like because they have this weird spider robot.
The go home machine or go
yeah,
back machine.
the most terrifying looking like
because it's a giant virtual robot that fucking webs you as if you're gonna get eaten.
yeah. So it scans the DNA of whoever's like getting sent back, and it sends them back to the right dimension. But with Miles, he got bit by a spider from a completely different dimension, and it read that DNA strand.
Yeah, so he went to Earth 42.
Yeah, and he encounters Prowler Miles.
Yeah, and Jeff is the one that died, not Aaron.
Yeah.
And so you're like in an evil universe a la Star Trek, and it's Miles versus Miles, and because he's raised by Rio as a single mother, he speaks more with like a Spanglish accent. There's a bunch of just like Easter eggs, like the Sinister Six, giant logos in the background of each of the gang headquarters have their own logo.
I do like
New York looks like Detroit. Yeah.
So I will say they actually did a surprisingly good job of making Prowler Miles threatening, because one aspect that he does that I like a lot is that he puts on the gauntlet, and he's like, "You have to let me go," and he's like, "Why should I?"
Yeah.
And he moves his fist to put it next to Miles's head, and he purposely scrapes his knuckle across his cheek just to cut him, just to be like, "Listen, like you're not making demands here. I'm the one in charge." I like that part a lot. I think it did a good job of like within like 20 seconds characterizing.
Yeah.
It also
evil
gives them like
Miles.
different like personalities, and you can just see the difference.
Yeah.
You can see it, and you just by their actions and the way they talk.
It also like it has like a really cool bait and switch. It's because like once Miles escapes the Spider Nexus,
He's just running.
he's running. He teleports back to what he thinks is his Manhattan, and then you're also cut to the other strike team led
That
by
went
Miguel
to the right universe.
that went to the like correct universe, and so they're hunting him down.
and we all think that at that moment in time, at least, we're like in the same universe.
Yeah, and then until that like Gwen actually looks inside the window and there's like no one there, and then you cut to Miles and like, wait a minute.
Yeah, something's not right.
Yeah.
The
There's
mom's like, you in Comic-Con or something?
It's like, what's Spider-Man?
Yeah.
It's also one of the cool things about like just kind of like the writing in this is that he completes the arc that was set for him for this movie. So at the beginning of the movie is him worrying his parents, and he's trying to be bigger than who he is, but he also wants to impress the new friends that he's got, the new spider people that he's got. And it isn't until the end of the movie that he confides in his mom and that he's Spider-Man, and it's like something he was like battling the entire thing. He wants to tell someone, he wants to rip open
Too
the
bad
hoodie.
it was wrong, Mom.
Yeah. So he like narratively speaking, he completes his arc. Like he got through the wall of trying to tell his parents, like his parents will still love him even though he's Spider-Man. And he learns and accepts that, but it's twisted because that's the wrong mom.
Yeah.
And you're in the wrong place, and oh my God, Uncle Aaron's alive, and he's a loan shark to his own mom. and they may be banging.
Yeah.
And then yeah. But like I had a fear going into this movie that because like based off the trailers, the teaser is Miguel chasing Miles, and then the trailers that are out are them going through the Spider Nexus, and I was like, God, I hope
be the whole movie.
God, I hope the Spider Nexus isn't the entire movie.
And it's not.
And Mumbatan was completely hidden as far as I can tell in
Yeah.
the trailers.
No, there was like a trailer specifically highlighting the part where he's like, and this is traffic, and this is traffic,
Okay.
and here's the traffic. And
I didn't watch any of the trailers. So.
I don't think I remember trailers.
there was that part, but honestly, it did not like highlight how much of a role Moonbottom was gonna play.
Or Spot, because Spot and the trailers were just like, this is just the intro scene.
I thought he was just gonna be an intro villain, and then Miguel was gonna be the real villain. But then it's
I
like
think
they're both the real villain.
No, I still believe in Miguel.
Yeah,
I don't think of him as a villain. Just two people kind of just like an unfortunate
He's just Darth
situation.
Vader. He's just Darth Vader. You know, he's misunderstood.
Yeah.
I see him more as
Because the overall antagonist is still Spot,
well, yeah.
and then you have all these smaller arcs of.
And the real
antagonists.
villain is God.
I think
Yeah.
Miguel is more the Shadow the Hedgehog of.
No, that's Ben Reilly. That's Scarlet Spider.
Oh, okay.
Maria.
Noir was in there, right?
For like 3 seconds.
You think they're gonna
at
get?
the very end.
No,
you think
so
they're gonna
he's-
get Nicolas Cage to
Yeah,
voice act him
he's
again?
gonna. Yeah, there's no way Nicolas Cage wouldn't voice him again. In the
I
next
don't think
movie.
he's part of the team. I think Gwen just had to.
No,
go back
yeah.
to 1920
Gwen just got them, but
1920.
I also am wondering if they're gonna reprise their roles.
I think
assume
they
so.
will.
But yeah, no. They got everyone back. Because like I feel like Madam Web should have been in this movie, but I feel like
Dude,
she should have been.
oh
but I
my
guess she would be in the
God.
second one.
I was thinking that the entire time, and I forgot about it until you mentioned it. I want Madam Web. Fucking. She has to show up in the next one.
Did you play Shattered Dimensions?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I have not.
I also watched the Amazing Spider-Man animated show.
The 90s Fox Spider-Man where
Yeah.
Madam Web's like giving orders from a chair.
Yeah.
Peter,
The spider chair.
Yeah.
Peter, you have to do this. The balance of the Spiderverse depends on it.
Yeah, no. I want.
Oh, that's Madam Web. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got.
She got the
she's
big.
got a
Yeah,
white
the white.
blindfold.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought she would be at the center of it, just like, and Miguel is like her right hand.
Yeah.
But no, it's all his idea.
Well,
Because he wanted to be daddy.
Well, maybe she'll be in at the end of the third one. She'll just be like, "It's all coming together."
I feel like
don't
she's
know.
going to play a role in the third one.
I think she's
hope
going to
she
be the
does.
Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
saves
she could be
everything
the
at the end.
Deus Ex like at the very end or something. I don't
The
know.
webs cannot be untangled, for they are converging towards me. I don't think she don't like that.
So
That or should be teased at the very end. One of the two.
yeah. With that, take our review as it were. But I hope everyone's excited for Beyond the Spider-Verse in March of 2024.
Is that a release date?
Yes, it is.
Oh, did you guys want to give ratings real quick? I gave my rating at the non.
I would say solid like 9. I would say solid like 8.5, 9 out of 10.
I don't think I can raise it above an 8 because it's like half of a movie. My balls are blue. I was telling Mike earlier in the week. I was like, this could be a TV show.
Yeah.
This is a 10-part TV show. Because there's like a lot of things you can do. Visiting
Announced
different
as an
dimensions.
Amazon Prime exclusive.
That turns me off. Actually, it being a TV show turns me off. And like, if it was a TV show, I probably wouldn't watch it.
Yeah.
But
You guys know about Secret Wars?
No.
yes, and I'm not gonna watch it.
I was like, oh, it's a TV show? Fuck, that sucks.
Yeah.
Anyways,
With that, sorry for the long hiatus, but we're back. You can find us at Twitter at Buns Cinema. If you wish to help support the show and help us do more cool shit, you can find us at patreon.com/cinemabuns. With that, I'm Ritter.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Ben Reilly. Scarlet Spider. I don't know.
And
These muscles are so
bye.
defined.
It's a me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Watch with us. We're Cinema Buns.